On today's Cardinals squad show, JG says the Cardinals will play on Saturday, but should they? That being the starters, plus the first depth chart is out. What are our reactions to it? And also, are we nearing a return for Will Hernandez in Arizona? Let's break it all down next.
Rise up, Red Sea. It's the Cardinals squad. Sponsored by Game Time. Everything Arizona Cardinals every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Valley of the Sun. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Gear up and squad up. The Cardinals Squad Show starts now.
Welcome back into the Locked On Cardinals Squad Show. I'm Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show mornings on YouTube and a credentialed Cardinals media member. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals Squad Show your first listen here on this beautiful Tuesday. Don't forget the Locked On Cardinals Squad Show is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button to do what thousands, dare I say millions of Cardinals fans have already done. Become an everyday, get locked on to the Arizona Cardinals each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account and use code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Joining me today from your regularly scheduled Cardinals or Locked On Cardinals show, Alex Clancy, and former ASU football alum and NFL offensive lineman and Super Bowl champion, Jamil Douglas. Sorry, Jamil, almost forgot your accolades there. How you guys doing? You guys jacked up? Preseason football?
As excited as I can be.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm ready to rip.
Are you excited?
Dude, I'm jacked up for some football. Here's the issue with preseason football, though, as you get me just going off already. You remember, for the first series, and mostly watching your team, you're like, oh my gosh, football is back. This is awesome. By like the second quarter, especially in the first game, you realize preseason football mostly sucks. It's kind of like NBA Summer League, where after the first game of Summer League, it's like, yeah, this absolutely sucks. Are you guys big consumers of preseason football? Or are you kind of the same way I am?
Well, Jamil, you played it, so you tell me.
I hate it.
That's a good point.
Hated it. Can't stand it. The worst thing.
Really?
It's yes, really. Do you know any players that love preseason?
Listen, no, this is I would think you would, because like you were, how do I say this? It's you had to fight for a job sometimes, right? And I feel like that's
all
when
the time.
Preseason is when you say, okay, well, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but sometimes, you're fighting for a job, especially someone in your shoes, which I think is very valuable to this show.
Yeah.
I thought that would be a way for you to separate from other people, so you love it. You're going to get more reps in there, but I guess not. I guess it sucks.
Well, you forget that you're actually the guy getting all the reps in practice as well. So you go out there, you're in practice, you're taking all those reps, and then you go ahead and you play in the preseason game. And it's not like the season where you get until, Wednesday to recover. The next day you watch the film and you're back in training camp doing training camp type things. So I hate the preseason. I'm not a fan. I'm sweating thinking about the preseason right now.
Well, all right then.
Yeah.
For me, I'm still in my own list season, like what TV shows I'm watching. This is like the last break before this is my life and our lives for the next 8 months until the end of the Super Bowl, and then free agency starts up. So like, this is my last stitch, and it is the most amazing place to be in, like talking about sports and all that stuff. But it's like, yeah, I'd rather finish the Bear than watch the Hall of Fame game. When it comes to the Cardinals, sure, but I'm not staying up at night watching preseason across the NFL.
Confession, I didn't watch a second, and I still haven't seen the highlights of the Hall of Fame game. But however, I did see Trey Lance was awesome. Looks like Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch just got that one wrong. However, it's not the only head coach that is making decisions. Jonathan Gannon has came out, and I think surprisingly so, maybe you guys don't feel this way, that the starters will play in free agency or in preseason.
Guys in the offseason.
Including Kyler Murray against the Kansas City Chiefs, who, if I'm not mistaken, usually play their starters in preseason, at least a series or two. But we can get into if it's the right thing to do or not, but I'm more curious what you guys think. Clancy, starting with you, is this a little just different from what the Cardinals have been doing?
I mean, yeah, the problem is when it comes to this, people are looking at last year and how they started last year and directly tying it to now, which I think is a fallacy. I think it's not something that should be discussed. It's because they were clunky last year, you should play them this year. Okay. I think that's ridiculous. Number one. On the other side, so for me, I don't think that they should be playing until the third week, maybe a quarter of the third week, because for me, I'd much rather have a clunky first half against New Orleans than a first half against New Orleans down a starter. And I know that I've always been, I mean, listeners of Locked On Cardinals, I've always said, play them. You got to play them. You got to be ready to rip. Like, this isn't something where you can give away a game just because you wanted to protect your guys. But with everything on the line this year, everything is on the line for everything. This is the culmination of everything. I would rather have a healthy team and kind of risk a little, cobwebs going into the season than playing everybody and then potentially having somebody get hurt, even though it's football where it could happen at any point. I know it's irrational. I just feel like you don't want anything going against them more than, what they already have.
I can see different pros and cons to this. Obviously, it's the first preseason game. So if there is an injury, you kind of give yourself time to get somebody back by week one. Obviously, you don't want there to be an injury, but it does allow you to have that time to get someone back. A lot of things within the preseason are negotiated between coaches. Like, I don't know if people know that, but there are times where coaches will agree in the preseason on, hey, are you going to play your starters, 2 series or 3 series or first quarter? Because we want to get these type of looks off so that we can kind of gauge where our guys are. So there are times that coaches have those conversations. I remember when I was in Buffalo, there was a time where, we basically went into the game knowing that we were going to be in empty protection the whole series or the whole quarter because the defense, the Lions, wanted to work on their empty checks. So the preseason is a time for things like that. So it doesn't surprise me that they're playing. If the Chiefs always play their starters, it's a good kind of gauge to see where the Cardinals offense is. Obviously, you're not game planning for these guys, but you're just going out there, putting the ball down and playing. So I think it's a good thing to get the guys kind of lathered up and then pull them before it's too late.
I'm actually pretty surprised that the Cardinals are saying right off the jump, we're doing this. I believe last year, Marvin Harrison Jr., if I'm not mistaken, only played in 1 or 2 preseason games, but both times it wasn't even a full series. I think the first one, he ran like a total of 2 routes. And then I think that did translate at least a little bit in terms of not getting him ready in the first week of the season where he had 1 catch. I remember he dropped the ball in that Bills game. I remember that vividly. That was I believe his first catch of the game. James Conner was 16 for 50 yards. Kyler Murray had 162 passing, 57 rushing yards. And that was a game that I felt like the Cardinals honestly should have won and that they kind of controlled for a little bit there against the Bills. But I kind of think of it almost differently than Clancy did, like he had just mentioned a second ago, which is I think that this season is everything. And I think it could be even more so, at least leaning into next season where Monty and JG could be on the hot seat if this season doesn't go as planned. Man, I think you got to get your guys ready to play week 1, especially against the Saints team that you can't afford to come out and lose that game on the road. The Superdome is going to be incredibly loud. You want to go in, announce your presence right away, come out with a win, and then figure things out in week 2. But I think rust is a real thing. And I don't believe the Cardinals have earned the right not to go in and play in preseason. The Chiefs have won how many Super Bowls over the last couple of seasons? And every year they play their guys.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a young team, like in terms of guys that, are from a skill player position. And Kyler's still a young quarterback, even though he's in his 7th year, still a young guy. So it's important to bank those reps, especially if you have a lot riding on this year with this offense. You want to see some things get executed so you can get a really honest opinion. Okay, where are we at against a defense like Kansas City, who won't be playing a Chris Jones or, their guys like that. But it's a good way to measure where you're at given the first couple of weeks of training camp, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, but comparing the Cardinals to the Chiefs because the Chiefs play in the preseason and they win Super Bowls, that's not the reason why the Chiefs win Super Bowls. Like that's another fallacy. It's like, well, the Chiefs do it. Yeah, but the Chiefs have the best quarterback we've seen since Tom Brady. That's why. And they have the best tight end that's ever laced them up, top 3, whatever you pick your poison. They have one of the best interior defensive linemen. They had the best head coach, DC and OC tandem with Spagnuolo and Eric Bieniemy before he left. And it's more than just them playing some snaps in the preseason. So, like, when it comes to, like, if they don't play in the preseason, they're going to lose week 1. It's like we're jumping to massive things. We're making massive leaps just because they may or may not play fake football. Like, it's not – it doesn't – I understand that it would benefit them if they played. I completely get it. I'm a rational person for the most part. When it comes to, like, sitting them, nobody's getting hurt. You know it because they're not on the field. And I know that's kind of a it's a weaker stance because there's no right or wrong answer with this. Should they play? Should they not play? It really has no, they didn't play in the preseason, so they're going to win 3 games and everybody's getting fired. That's a big jump. Like, my problem is if they play 1 series, why? If they play 2 series where it's 2 handoffs to James Conner in the first series, 2 hands off to Trey Benson in the second series, and then a rollout from Kyler twice, why? So you can see it. Nobody's running at full speed. Like, that's why it's like, maybe you, Jamil, you'd be able to test that more. But, like,
yeah, that's a Jamil.
Nobody wants to be there. They're going through the motions, like getting that group practice in with pads on and lights on and concessions being sold. But it's like, man, if anything were to happen, especially this season, that crater is something that they've been building up for 1,000 days now. That's why I just feel the weight in this. I've talked about this every day. And it's like, no, I don't want anything to go wrong.
Yeah.
Before the season starts.
I'll ask you this. Do the Cardinals have any joint practices this year with anyone?
Yeah.
Who do they have joint practices
I think it was Denver. I think Denver. I'm not 100%.
I thought it was Denver. I was going to say Broncos too, but I can look it up as you guys go after that.
So I would say that week, I bet the starters don't play. Just given because the week of joint practices, you get so many game-like situations with your first group that you really get to kind of so they may not be playing next week, and that's why they're playing in this first week game.
But then why the first one and not the third one? If you're going to do one, that lends me to think they're going to play in the third one also. Like, why do it almost a month before the season starts when you have that full week after the end of the preseason before that, like, you're 2 weeks away from the regular season at that point? Like,
I hear you.
Those reps, but maybe like if it play, that's another reason why it's like if they play this week, I mean, if you're putting odds on it, I'd say it's a favor for them to play, maybe a quarter or a couple series in week 3, which terrifies me also.
I'll say this about when you're a starter and you're going into a preseason game and you obviously don't want to be out there playing the whole offense in terms of like, okay, how fast can we get out this game? The way to do that is to go be productive on the first drive. Go get points on the first drive.
That's good call.
If you get your points on the first drive, then you're out of there. Like if it's one of those things where it's sloppy the first drive and there's a turnover or the ball's on the ground, now we could see it turning into 4 drives or a quarter instead of just one drive of getting it going.
Yep. No, agreed. So go put in points. And then get the hell off the field. Yeah.
I got 2 questions here that I want to ask to both you guys, but the second one I guess would be more towards Jamil. But would we feel better about the Arizona Cardinals on week 1 if they go out in their first drive and they go 80 yards, 10 plays, touchdown, they pull them? Who are they playing? The Chiefs, who have a good defense. Granted, again, they probably have hush-hush handshake agreements on what they're going to do. Will that make you feel better about the Cardinals in week 1 and their readiness for the season?
No, this doesn't count. Who cares? Like, seriously.
I can buy that. I can buy that too. Yeah, I can buy that, but
absolutely
go for it.
I don't care. If Kyler Murray throws a beautiful cross route or a beautiful drag route to Marvin Harrison Jr., cool. We saw that last year. Like, sweet. Oh, if he throws a touchdown to Trey McBride. Oh, Trey McBride had 2 receiving touchdowns last year. I don't care. Like, this legitimately does not count. So they got their reps. That's great. You want to see more of, like, I don't know, Xavier Weaver beat a backup corner off the jump or something like that. Like that's what you're looking for. You're looking for Elijah Higgins to catch a touchdown pass. You're looking for what the depth guys are going to do, because if you're going to win games, it's not just going to be Marvin Trey like we've talked about so much. I don't care about playing the hits in the preseason. And I'm sorry, like I don't know why I'm so stingy stubborn when it comes to this.
My guy hates the preseason. I get it, man. I get it.
You and me,
we're
supposed to be hyping
we're together. We're together. Look, I'll say this. It shouldn't do anything from a standpoint of like us watching, but I will say if they go 80 yards and they make a great drive out of it, that's a confidence builder within the building and within the room, and for your quarterback Kyler Murray, who you need that out of this year. So it'll do some morale boosting for the guys within the building, but I mean, no one's game planning for you in the preseason, so there really is no merit to it.
Lastly, because we mentioned the joint practice, and it's actually really good to know, Jamil, what is more intense, a preseason game or joint practices?
Oh, joint practice is 100 times more intense.
Interesting. Why is that? I type deep into that.
Because in joint practices, you've got enough bodies to split up all groups. So the one offense goes with the one defense. For each opposing team, the twos go with the twos. If you got a third, they go with the threes. So it's ones versus ones that whole time. No one's getting held out of those training camp practices. Guys get held out of preseason games all the time. So you're getting training camp style play, and it gets chippy because it is your first defense versus their first offense. So 100 times, like the joint practices that I've had when I was in with the Patriots and we went up against New England, I promise you I'd never been that sore in my life for those 2 days because of the intensity in which you're just battling with their first string defense.
Let me translate that for Jamil, who doesn't want to say what he wants to say. You can fight and not get fined in practice in group practice.
Hey, I'll tell you this:
you could bite people's. Aaron Donald threw a helmet at somebody played week.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you this: when Mike Vrabel's your head coach, you can't fight. He gonna send you to that sand pit, and you're gonna be in full pads in the sand pit running. So you almost better off practicing as opposed to fighting and getting thrown out.
But fights have escalated exponentially since team practices started, and there's nothing like that in the preseason.
No, 100%.
It's an interesting thing.
100%.
It's not the only thing. It's not the only thing that's got Cardinals that's making Cardinals news. The Cardinals also released their first depth chart. Let's talk about the defense first, and then we'll go to the offense because there's a surprising question mark. CB1, Will Johnson. Let's talk about it next.
This episode is brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of the year, man. NFL kickoff's almost here. That means fantasy football season is back in full swing. And this year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. I've been in constant contact over the last 2 weeks with both of my Yahoo Fantasy leagues. One has been for 20 years, which is a redraft, and one's been for 10 years, which is a dynasty. I've made 6 trades this offseason. It's been super seamless with Yahoo, and I've completely reconfigured my team. And, I am actually going to try and get into the ear of the Yahoo Fantasy CEO to maybe get an offensive lineman only draft. I know Jamil would be interested in that. To celebrate over 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days through August to kick it off. They just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues. These are insane. A killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the season just around the corner, now's the time to get your league together and give the new mode a try. For more into the classics, you can still play in head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/lockedonnfl.
All right, keeping the show rolling. The Cardinals released their first of, I believe, 2 more Cardinals depth charts, and we'll look at the defensive side of the ball first up here for our visual audience. But for our audio audience, there's one big revolution, I think, made on this Cardinals defense. Will Johnson looks to be CB1 on the outside next to Max Melton, next to Garrett Williams. Are we surprised he's already been given that reign already? Jamil, you're shaking your head. I'll let you take that one, man.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, we've seen it in college. This guy's a bona fide first rounder. He slipped out the first round because of the concerns about the knee injury. If anything, it's promising that they put that on the depth chart because you got to earn that, especially as a rookie. So it says a lot. I mean, we've seen the clips online of him and Marvin Harrison Jr. playing against each other. We've seen how physical he is and how competitive he is. So it says a lot about the work that he's been putting in this training camp. And it's exciting. I'm excited to see him go against those guys that we consider number one or number two receivers. Like there's got to be a lot of hype on the defensive side around it for sure.
So the fascinating thing about this is, so this is in their base formation, okay, which they don't play. They don't have a base that they play predominantly. Like Nick Morales just, puts the best guys on the field for the situation. So with this is Garrett Williams in the slot right now. So if it were to be some sort of other formation, you'd think Will Johnson would be supplanted by Max Melton. So with this, yes, and it's very early, and we'll see. But if the starters are going to play, we're going to find out a lot about Will Johnson in the preseason also, which is something that maybe we didn't know exactly what was going to happen. So that's kind of a good thing. You're gonna play your dudes, and you're going to find out. To mirror Jamil's point, this dude was the defensive MVP of the National Championship 2 years ago. He had 2 pick sixes last year. Like, the dude is going to be the steal of the draft. Like, if everything continues the way it has, all he's done is shown, hey, I should have gone top 12. I told everybody I should have gone top 12. And he dropped into the 40s, and the Cardinals have their CB1 alongside Garrett Williams and Max Melton for the future. Like, you look at that depth chart, all those dudes are drafted by the Cardinals, which is a far cry from what it used to be.
Jamil, do you have a guy in mind that maybe you play with that reminds you of Will Johnson? Because I've got one in the back of my mind. I'm just curious if there's anyone out there that fits the archetype right away that you're like, big, physical, kind of lengthy corner that you've seen from the highlights at camp.
That I played with,
or even one that you've seen up close and you're like, damn, there's some close comparisons there.
Well, I'll say this, and I don't know if it's because he's in a Cardinals uni, but he reminds his style reminds me of Pat P. Like a physical guy that can guard, someone who has those big play making abilities like that. That's who Will Johnson reminds me of. I'm sure there's corners that, I mean, their statures are different. Xavier Howard was someone that when I was in Miami, they drafted out of Baylor, and, we're a little unsure about how he was going to pan out, but the guy ends up, we see what he did and see how he got paid. So he was obviously somebody that was really, really good at what he did. But I like Will Johnson because he plays with a confidence. You can tell in his tape that he plays with a confidence. He doesn't seem like a guy that is going to be out there barking and getting outside of what he knows. Like, he seems like he's going to fit into the scheme and he's going to make plays within the scheme and trust his instincts. So I really like the fit with Will Johnson.
Really quickly, how much does the defense know what the offense is running? Because here's kind of my point. He looks like Jalen Ramsey, in my opinion. He's a little bit taller than Jalen. He's a little bit lighter than Jalen. So virtually the same guy in the aggregate in terms of measurables. The physicality, the swagger that he plays with, the jumping of routes. Am I overstating that a little bit from what I'm seeing? Because maybe he knows what's coming in training camp and it's a little bit easier. Because, man, I'm seeing this guy jump routes. He's running routes for the wide receivers to where I'm literally thinking he must know what's coming.
Nah, man. I mean, he's a corner. He's got good instincts. Those guys are the.
I haven't seen that.
Those guys are some you have though. Jalen Ramsey.
No. I'm saying so early in their career, making routes in the red and white practice look like they're fake WWE style because he knows exactly what's coming. That's my point.
Hey, Listen, he may know the route tree, but I'll tell you this about cornerbacks. They're some of the most confident guys on the football field. They lean into their instincts more than anybody because they know they know the way that they get paid is PBUs and picks.
Yeah.
So they're some of the most confident guys out there, and he's one of those guys. He was one of the best college corner, if not the best college corner in college football. So we're going to see that same swagger until he gets burned. And hopefully we get to see, okay, is he really this guy, or does he get a couple chinks in his armor and he shies away from it? But you hope to see the other.
Yeah. I mean, let's let him play an NFL game before we talk about the best corner we've seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, just maybe. I mean, that's just me. But like, this is, so when it comes to a young corner, you don't want what I call, and I know that this is lazy, but I've said this forever. So you don't want the oh no moments. You don't want him getting burned in camp. That's it. And he hasn't been, and he's thrived. The same with Max Melton last year. It's like it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be all world, because how do you quantify that when you actually translate into game film? When it comes to a dude who's playing the toughest position in football, in my opinion, at least on the defense, it's like he can hang. He's hanging with 10-year veteran Zay Jones, however long Zay Jones has been there, and he was the one who jumped his route. Like, this is something that the only bad thing that could happen in camp is if he's falling behind. And he's not only not falling behind, he's also thriving in the small sample size that we've seen. That sample size, you kind of take with a grain of salt until you see it in full speed and pads on Sundays. Right? I mean,
I don't want to. Sorry, continue.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, it's something to monitor, but it's really sweet and really fun to watch as it's happening.
Yeah, no, that's fair. He's not falling behind. He's keeping up with the defense and fitting into the scheme well. And then in his one-on-one reps, you see that he can hold his own. So that's promising. And there's a reason why they put him like that on the depth chart. So I'll be excited to watch and see him hang with those guys.
Yeah.
Maybe a not so surprising development in the depth chart, but the starting inside backer with Mack Wilson Sr. right now, Akeem Davis-Gaither. Backing up those two guys, Cody Simon. This is kind of Clancy's guy. I co-sign on that as well, that I think he's going to be a very valuable player in the NFL. But is this where he should be? Or should this guy just be getting one snaps immediately, or maybe is he just not earned it yet like Will Johnson has?
Well, let me jump in before the actual football player talks, because I want to be like I'm stupid, but this is my thought process. Tell me if this is irrational. So I understand you bring the vet in, you start him. That's what I expected to happen, even though all I've said is if it's close, give it to the rook. If it's close, why not? Like if this isn't like, you drafted in the 4th round, go. You got to rush it. But like Akeem Davis-Gaither was probably some sort of cap casualty because Cincinnati only paid two players. And, if he comes over and he can be sufficient in that role, fine. Like I'm not on for rushing. The caveat to all this is if Mack Wilson's going to slide over and wear the green dot, that changes things, because that means Cody Simon will be backing him up and not playing alongside him. So that's what they've been kind of tinkering with. They've been moving Zaven Collins into that off-ball linebacker role to kind of find a home for him, because they love him more than air itself, which is, I guess, fine. But I think that's the thing for me. It's like, don't force it. But if it's close, if they're 1-1-8, why not? That's all.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think, like I said earlier on when we discussed this a couple of weeks ago, he's in the right spot. I think you go with the guys that have been there. I think it's a lot when you have that green dot and you're communicating to the defense. The inside backer job from both spots, the Mike and the Sam spot, are both heavy mental jobs. Like you have to do a lot of alignment issues with your D line and a lot of communicating with the back end. And it's not to say that he can't do that with this depth chart release. It's just a lot. And you almost want him to be able to grow into that role in game-like situations. So like I said, bring the guy in, have certain packages where you can bring him in. Maybe it's a dime type of thing or something like that. We know how effective he can be to a defense, but I just think it's a lot, man. And I'm okay with going with the older guys for the time being until he catches up to speed from probably a communication standpoint and just a feel standpoint. Like let those older guys go make plays for you and sprinkle the young guy in when you can.
I think the same could be said for Will Johnson also. Sorry, before we pivot, like if it's not time yet, I don't care if he doesn't play. If he doesn't play 70% of the snaps to start the season, if Max Melton is just more ingrained, he's played in this defense, in this scheme for a full season. You know, Max Melton like gets a bad rap, and I'm sorry to jump on this. Like Max Melton gets a bad rap gets no rap because every single hot button corner that the Cardinals could have taken, for those that forget, Monty Osborne traded back multiple picks. And in those picks, Cooper DeJean, Kamari Lassiter, and a couple others, like the big name dudes coming in the draft, were drafted. Yeah, Kool-Aid McKinstry, right, for New Orleans. And then they took Max Melton. So if they didn't know that could happen, they wouldn't have traded back. This is the guy they wanted for this scheme. So I know that it's not the sexiest name compared to those other guys, but if he's ready to go and Will Johnson needs to sit for a little bit, fine. They got him forever.
I agree with Clancy in the respect of like if it's close, you probably want to give it to the rookie. However, I also see I don't think there's really a wrong answer to this one. What the Cardinals want to do, if they're both good, I almost see it as the other way. It's like maybe you give it to the veteran because there's a lot of other things you have to do as the Mike as well. But man, there's a lot of youth on this defense. I wouldn't mind adding a little bit of veteran presence to it because if you add Cody Simon to it, then we think Walter Nolan. Darius Robinson's a second-year guy. Garrett Williams, who's still young, I think, but, I mean, he's not getting veteran days off at this point. Max Melton, Will Johnson. I know there's Buddha, Jalen, DTR is in that conversation as well. I just think with the inflection of youth, have a couple of gray hairs in there is the only point that I would make with that as well. We'll get to the offensive side of the ball on the other side of the break. And we still have a little bit of offensive line news that we will get to. Before we do that, let's break here. First, today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier with Monarch Money? It can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch Money puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. I've mentioned this a couple of times before, but I am as guilty as anyone when it comes to spending too much on too many subscription services, whether it's Hulu, Peacock, Paramount Plus, Netflix. You know, at one point we were paying for 2 Spotify accounts and my wife uses Apple Music. It was just bad money managing. Had I been using Monarch Money, I would likely have solved all those issues that I was throwing money at and said, oh, maybe we should cancel those subscriptions and maybe use those things or that money disposably on something a little bit more important like groceries. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. All right, it wasn't just the defensive side of the ball. We also have the offensive side of the ball. Just like how we kind of started with Will Johnson over there, let's start with the wide receiver 3, Zay Jones, and let Jamil Douglas take a bit of a victory lap here. No Greg Dortch to be seen, but Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, and Zay Jones. Following that, Greg Dortch, Xavier Weaver, and another wide receiver whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but is this right? Moving over, Zay Jones is the number 3. We were talking pre-show about all the great things that Zay Jones has done live in front of Jamil. What do you got to say about this one, man?
I love it. Everything about it. Zay Jones is, the guy is 6'2". He plays bigger than 6'2". He's dynamic. He can go across the middle. He can run every route. He can take the top off the defense. Like, he's just, to me, you want to surround Kyler with big receivers that can also play the middle of the field. Obviously, we know he loves Trey McBride in those situations, but you don't want to always send Marv across the middle. Get somebody like Zay Jones that can almost do that dirty work for you and can be flashy as well while he does it. I think it's a perfect mixture of guys just to the talent that these guys have, like I just love hearing it, man. It warms my heart that he's working out, because we said that a couple weeks ago, and I can't wait to see it.
Okay, Jalen Ramsey, he hasn't worked out yet. Okay, nothing's happened yet. Okay, so with Zay Jones. With Zay Jones, it's dink and dunk at it again. You guys should go on.
He must want somebody else to be in Zay Jones' spot.
No. He wants the 5'6" wide receiver
he wants to trot the little giants out there against the Saints.
You're not putting hey, Lunchbox or Icebox was real deal, okay?
Icebox was a good player.
Okay. Ben's like, what do you guys? I wasn't even a figment of life yet. So no, and Greg George wouldn't play behind Zay Jones. Zay Jones never played in the slot. So with Zay Jones, what he's done, like he used to be when he was given opportunity for part of the time in Vegas. I think they moved to Vegas at that point. Maybe it was Oakland, whatever. Or in Jacksonville, like the dude can be a touchdown machine. He can catch the deep ball. He's great in the red zone. Like there are things that he's made his money on ever since getting the hell out of Buffalo, where he got drafted a handful of years ago. With him, if he can produce, it'll unlock the offense. Like you need one guy you can trust. It's not Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. This is the obvious choice. He's the most established guy. And he just like the fact that he didn't say a word, signing a couple-year deal, was out for the first 6 weeks last year. Nobody even knew he was on the team. And he just kept his mouth shut. He worked. He was coaching up the young guys. If he can play in this offense, the second year in the offense, like it's going to help. So yeah, I mean, it would be troubling if he wasn't atop the wide receiver 3 depth chart.
Yeah, I would say it's reassuring for sure. Like you want that veteran presence in your young wide receiver room, somebody that can kind of, I was reading an article earlier, and he said his trust with Kyler is just building as they get more reps together. So that's something that like Kyler can depend on in those 3rd and 6 situations where he knows that this guy is seeing that coverage the right way and he's not guessing, and he can just put the ball out there if he's under pressure. So a veteran guy like that can, stretch the field and run those intermediate routes is like it's such a luxury to have that a lot of teams kind of lack in those situations.
Yeah, and at the end of the year, if he's wide receiver 2, we're having conversations about Michael Wilson. Not only about Zay Jones emerging, but also about questions about Michael Wilson. Like, as long as you don't have to try to fit a pass into double coverage on Trey McBride in 3rd down, you can trust other dudes. Yeah, for sure. That's the evolution of this offense will definitely be shown.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that going to do for Marvin Harrison Jr. indirectly if he's not asked? I do think there's a lot of pressure on Marv to come out this year internally with himself to get 1,200 yards receiving this year. What does it do for him to be able to have Trey, Zay, and Michael Wilson on the field to where, like, yeah, we all want Marv to be the pure number 1, but what if he doesn't have to be? We kept on doing this conversation, or at least I did, with multiple Cardinals fans of like, you got to bring Keenan Allen into the fold. You got to bring, XYZ receiver into the fold. And I think people just kind of forgot about Zay Jones, that he is like the perfect number 3, potentially number 2 for this team. And at times number 4 weapon to Trey McBride. How does that open up the rest of the offense for those players, Jamil?
I mean, listen, we could talk about it in terms of when you see let's say Jamar Chase and T. Higgins type of thing, and when Mike Gesicki was there, like it allows the ball to go in other places that the defense can't really hone in on. So obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to see the number 1 corner on teams, but as long as they can't drop a safety over him and, just focus on that the whole time, now you open up another part of the route tree that you can get the ball to the guy or get the ball to Trey McBride or Michael Wilson, Zay Jones. Like, all of these guys are just going to help complement each other. And that's what you want from a skill position room. Like, you want to put 2 over our number 1 receiver. All right, we'll hit you underneath with this guy, or we'll hit you over the top with our other guy. Like, those are just complementary ways to take advantage of a defense.
Yeah, and then it's going to be on Kyler to really figure out what the elixir is in certain situations and maybe take his time a little bit more, not take the first open guy like we've been talking about, like letting the progression of the play move a little bit more than just, guy open first down for the sticks for 3 yards when maybe you wait a beat and there's a larger chunk gain. But yeah, I mean, dude, the Cardinals have plenty of guys on the outside. They have like look around the league, man. Like this is like people are so tunnel visioned on. You need to go on Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen wouldn't do like that. They have Zay Jones. He's their guy. They don't need to do that in their eyes. So it's just I mean, Keenan Allen,
they're loaded. The Cardinals. If you were to look at their offensive, I mean, we just looked at their depth chart. They are loaded as far as skill positions. Take a team like the Titans. With the number 1 quarterback in the draft, he's got Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah,
like the Cardinals are literally loaded. Like this should be, they should be taking advantage of defenses in a way that, like, I would say, I don't know who we've seen that has this type of firepower within the past couple of years, but this should be like it should
Eagles?
be deal with. I would say,
I know that team is awesome.
They don't have the running game like the Eagles. That's the difference. Like, but
no one does.
It should be dealer's choice for Kyler out there. I would say, I would say they don't have the speed like the Lions, but they got a lot of good skill positions.
I think it's all going to come down to, do they have the play caller as well? Because, you talk about those Super Bowl teams, part of it is Drew Petzing as well. I want to save the last part of the segment in terms of looking at the step chart to kind of observe, like, listen, this roster is going to get cut down to 53 guys fairly soon here. Tip Reinman, Clayton Tune, probably not Amari DiMercato, Michael Carter likely again. Is there anyone on the chopping block that you're like, that guy might be out of a job? We have also talked about Bilal Nichols, Justin Jones, who would be like, look really bad for Monty Ossenfort. Those were his 2 first big free agent signings. A couple of those guys right there, right off the cusp. BJ Ojulari also, still not practicing. No. That's a topic of discussion. Where do you guys want to go here? You guys got someone that you're keeping your eye on?
They're not cutting BJ Ojulari. Like,
no, not cutting BJ.
What's the question?
No. I'm just saying that those are some of the lingering questions as well. When you look at the depth chart, BJ Ojulari is on there. They're not cutting him. I'm just saying, still on the IR. We could go there as well. When is he going to be back? Do they feel like they need to bring him back? But also some of the names on that I mentioned before on the chopping block, Amari, Clayton, those guys.
The beauty of this is they know how strong they are and how deep they are. So there's not going to be any surprise cuts. There used to be there's always like maybe one name. They're not cutting any of the tight ends. They're not cutting any of the offensive linemen. They're not cutting Hayden Connor, who they just drafted. I mean, they might, but I'd be very surprised. You throw him on the practice squad. Like, I don't think any household name or any tangential household name is in any sort of risk of getting cut. Like, at the end of the 2022 season, they needed bodies. So they had to bring in a guy like Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. Oh, they gave him a lot of money. No, they didn't. Like, these are 2-year deals. Like, it's not like Monty Ossenfort got vilified in some respects in 2023 because they didn't bring in any big splashy names. Well, the Cardinals were so bad that it didn't matter. And Kyler was out for the first half of the year, so it didn't matter. Like, the last 2 years is where Monty Ossenfort really showed his stripes. And it's something that, to answer your question, sorry, long story long, like, they're good. Anybody that gets cut deserve to, like, this isn't going to be, it's going to be very black and white. It's going to be very cut and dry. They've got their guys. Like, they've got their guys, and I think everybody else is either fighting for practice squad spots or fighting, auditioning for other teams.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention, just really quickly, are the Cardinals going to keep 3 wide receivers, 3 quarterbacks, or is Clayton Tune done? Is his time in the NFL coming to a close? I mean, he'll be a practice squad guy, but he only had 1 start. It kind of does. I don't think Clayton Tune is very good at all. However, it does kind of feel like he didn't get that much of a runway. Listen, man, I was on the sidelines watching the most disastrous quarterback 2 battle last year between Clayton Tune and Desmond Ridder. Like, dude, that was bad. But now you got Jacoby Brissett in the fold. Clayton Tune's nowhere near the quarterback. Forget backup to what Jacoby Brissett is, but it's a 5th-round pick, man. He getting cut? Are we holding on to 3 quarterbacks?
Yeah, listen, a 5th-round pick is you're not secure. So especially from a quarterback position. So I think there's a reason why they brought in Jacoby Brissett, a proven guy who Monty Ossenfort has a relationship with from his New England days. And you know that Jacoby can play and he'll play through whatever, that's just the type of player that he is. So like Clancy said, though, there's going to be no one that gets cut that's going to be a surprise. Like this is kind of the style in which you want to have. This is a good problem to have. You kind of know you've scouted your guys well enough to know who are your 2 deep guys. And yeah, there may be some guys that are pushing, for competition, but listen, the guys that they pick are like, they're going to be the guys, and we're not going to be sitting here like we thought he was going to make the team. Like this is a good problem to have.
Yeah. And let me tell you what, you brought up Amari Mercado. If he gets cut, that is a fantastic situation. With the Trey Benson is putting him in. Like if he gets cut, that means Trey Benson's ready to rip.
Yeah.
Like they don't mess around with that. You bring Michael Carter back as a scat back or whatever, and they've got DJ Dallas who ain't going anywhere. He's a kick returner extraordinaire, special teams guy. Like this is what, here it is, Ben. Once a month, twice a month is my quota for saying something smart. I think I said one last month. It's early, so I'm going to give one. This is showing the tide rising. This is what the floor rising looks like. The guys who are going to be on this team in 2025 are far greater numbers-wise than the 40+% retention that they brought back after the 2022 season. This is what 3 full offseason cycles with competency in the front office looks like. So it should be to drop down to 70 at least. It should be easy, and it will be. I think it'll be pretty cut and clear. The interesting piece is like the majority of what's going to happen here is on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like from an offensive standpoint, you're pretty solid. Maybe do you keep 8 receivers? Do you keep what's the number that we keep? That depends on the quarterback and if you keep 3 running backs. But other than that, like it's going to be who do you have to make a tough cut with from a defensive standpoint? And the rules have changed this year from a standpoint of like, if you can keep a guy on practice squad and elevate him every week, like that's an extra guy that, you can add into the fold. So, and that piece is like, based on if the guy wants to be there, but it'll be interesting from the defensive side of the ball, I think.
A couple of guys defensively, just kind of as we wrap it up. One, Xavier Thomas, who I really liked his motor, especially coming from Clemson. A little bit of a disappointment, I think, to finish out his Clemson career and then over with the Cardinals in the 5th round. Joey Blount, I think, is another guy who could potentially be a practice squad guy. Anyone else, gentlemen? Keitrell Clark, could he be on the bubble? Probably not. That feels wrong as well. But I think you're right, Jamil. A lot of those guys on the defensive line and defensively can have a tough time potentially making that roster. Yeah. Clancy, anything else?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dante Stills isn't going anywhere. LJ Collier isn't going anywhere. So there's just going to be a lot of bodies. Like Josh Sweat, when he had his presser, I think it was last week, he said there's going to be rotations. Like there's going to be a lot of dudes, which is a really good problem to have. It's not like you're getting paid per, I'm sure there are elevators with sacks and stuff like that. But, the defensive line, like you need those fresh bodies, and the Cardinals will have a million. So, no, I mean, it'll be fascinating to see after the second preseason game what it looks like. But, I mean, I think it's pretty much going to be status quo.
A return to the Arizona Cardinals for our guy, Will Hernandez. Is there a chance the Cardinals could be bringing the guy back? Is it the right move, or is it just kind of optics? Let's talk about that next. Closing out the show, the Arizona Cardinals had an official visit with Will Hernandez. Kind of snuck that one under the transaction radar. The first to see that, Tyler Drake of Arizona Sports, putting that out to the Twitterverse, and everyone kind of losing their mind a little bit on Will Hernandez. Let's phrase it like this, even though I kind of don't agree with it also. Does the Cardinals bringing in Will Hernandez for a visit tell you that they're maybe a little bit more skeptical at minimum of the depth of the offensive line? Jamil?
Yeah, originally when I saw that, when we were talking about it, I thought, okay, someone must be giving them this sort of inclination that they need to make a move to shore up their offensive line. I don't necessarily think it's a bad conversation to have, but I do think that if you, like I've said over and over, you bring Will Hernandez back into this room, it's going to help elevate your offense from a standpoint of like just who the guy is and how he plays. He's a physical guy. He's obviously really good in the run game and can pass protect, but he just sets the tone. So yes, originally when I saw it, I'm like, okay, I don't think they'd be bringing him in to be a backup swing guy. So it's really based on what does the right guard position look like right now, and are they having conversations upstairs that will maybe better given what they have right now?
This isn't surprising. Isaiah Adams is only starting because Will Hernandez got hurt. I told you the first time we talked about this. Will Hernandez is so undervalued across the landscape of the NFL. I'll tell you what, the Giants are pissed that he walked.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask me how many teams who needed a right guard in the NFL, say 15 would be calling him or trying to bring him over. Dude, the dude's been absolute nails. It's been absolute nails to put him and Yaltafrol together, and it'll benefit Jonah Williams too a little bit to have a little bit extra beef that you can trust to the left side of him. Like, I'm surprised they didn't sign him on the spot. Like, I don't know if it's contractual. Like, remember, Will Johnson took a while. Like, people have taken a while for contracts. They want to get things figured out. Maybe they want to do a 2-year deal instead of just a 1-year deal, keep him here for longer. I'd be very surprised if they didn't sign him. Like, I don't have any insight, but it's like it makes too much rational sense for them not to. I thought they questioned it the entire time. Like, this isn't new to me. I think it'd be amazing to bring 67 back for sure.
Yeah. So that was kind of my belief with Jamil, what he had said, which was the offensive line must be struggling. And if we're giving giving pats on the backs here, listen, I mentioned that last week a little bit on this show. The guy's kind of getting pushed around a little bit, more so on the Jonah Williams side. But I did mention Isaiah Adams, Evan Brown. I don't understand why you wouldn't bring him in. I don't think it's a Cardinal issue of bringing Will Hernandez into the fold. I think it's Will Hernandez wants to start. And if he can't find a starting job elsewhere, sure, he'll come to the Cardinals, but I do think they want him. I don't think they wanted to let him out of the facility yesterday, but I think the only way you're probably bringing him back is if he's a starter. He was very solid for this team.
Yeah, he would be a starter.
Where?
Yeah.
Where would you start him? Because
right guard.
I don't know. Okay, wait time the F out. So you went after me on social media for saying that he could play right guard.
No. I said he should be starting at right guard. Will Hernandez should be starting at right guard. That's where he played before. I don't know what we're missing something. Yeah.
You're
lucky you're lucky to drop that F-bomb. Yeah.
No, yeah. I was not going to drop an F-bomb. You're absolutely right. Sorry, I was wrong.
We're good.
He was right. All right, my bad. That was a little far. I was wrong there.
That was OD.
Moving to yes. Yeah. I don't think it's the Isaiah. I don't think it's the Adams side of it. I think obviously Will Hernandez, yes, he's more naturally a right guard, obviously. However, it feels like all the praise that's coming out of camp is everyone really likes Isaiah Adams. I don't think it's Evan Brown either. Yeah, listen, man, I think to the point of Clancy as well, I think you're just going to go with the younger guy if it's close on the offensive line. And I think that's what might be what the Cardinals are doing. I'm not saying I agree. My job is to play devil's advocate here. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying the Cardinals might feel it that way.
They listen. They wouldn't have brought Will Hernandez in if they didn't. It's a good
point. It's a good point.
Yeah, they're not just wasting their time and hey, let's bring him in and talk to him for a bit. And I'll tell you this right now, like Will Hernandez is not going anywhere that he's going to be a back. He may be going somewhere where there's some issues, and then eventually once he learns the play, if it's somewhere new, he learns the playbook, he knows he's going to start. Will Hernandez is not signing anywhere to be the backup right guard or the swing interior guy. He has proven that he has started in important games. He can play the position at a high level. The only reason he signed back to the Cardinals, he's going to be starting by week 1.
Yeah.
And then whoever, they're going to figure out their interior from that point on, from a backup standpoint.
So then he's just looking for more money elsewhere then, correct? Like
we don't think he's looking for money.
So I'm trying to piece together what you guys are saying, because you guys are both saying if he's going to come here, he's going to start. Totally can buy into that. So if you're Will Hernandez and the Cardinals are serious about bringing you in and you're not wasting your time, why didn't they just come to a deal yesterday? Or maybe they do and they're not telling anyone about it yet.
There's just numbers. That's what I would guess. Is they're just trying to figure out the numbers. There's no rush. Monty doesn't rush. This is
a little bit of a rush.
Listen,
the season's around the corner. I think there's a little bit of a rush.
No. God. This guy is not. He's not. There's no rush. He's played. He's played.
Making it seem like I'm saying tomorrow. I'm just saying a little rush. Little.
What year is this for Will Hernandez?
Let's say 6.
Okay.
Let's say 6.
He has not forgot how to play football. He's a plug and play type of guy. Like,
when was the last time he played though?
It doesn't.
He hasn't been coming off an injury.
He's not. He's not in year 15 and he's broken and brittle. This guy is someone who can plug and play right away. He's a phone booth type of guy. Like he's.
I think it's year 7, by the way.
All right. Yeah. There's no rush to get him in.
Yeah. The only thing is, with it being Justin Frye, different O-line coach, it may extend things a little bit. You have conversations, you kind of talk about technique and stuff like that. People know who Will Hernandez is. Like, it's like actors who get offered roles instead of having to audition. That's this. Like, you come back home, everybody loves him. People ain't wearing, I said this last week, people ain't wearing Mijo's stuff if he's not coming back to play for the Cardinals. Like, it's just a thing where it's just chill. It's a month away. Okay. He's not going to play in the preseason. I mean, he may play in the final preseason. Like, so say they sign him tomorrow and he plays in the final preseason game after he gets caught up, but like, it's coming off an injury. Even if he starts the week on the PUP list, even if he starts the season on the PUP list, you still bring him back because he's Will Hernandez. I just don't. Yeah. I think it's a massive overthink, and it's just not. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's going to. Not going.
I think he gets in after the first preseason game. I think he gets signed. If it is going to happen, it's the day after they, play in that game. That's just what my feeling is around it. I think that's how it'll work out. So, listen, the guy doesn't need the preseason. Like, you can see what he's got in practice. You like I said, he's plug and play. Like, he's a proven starter in the NFL. So there's no questions from a standpoint of can he play? It's just, is he healthy? And if he's healthy, then he'll be signed at some point in training camp.
Yeah, I all I'm saying is I think it's fair to question, coming off of a knee injury of all things, that you'd want to get him into the fold sooner rather than later. I'm not saying it's a massive rush, but like, you don't get training camp forever. It's only, I think it's just a month in total. You want to bring the guy in,
it's like
get him
6
back
weeks.
into the fold. There you go. 6 weeks of just getting back into the fold, and already 2 weeks is done with. Bring him in. I'm surprised you guys are so sure that it's going to get done, because Jonathan Gannon keeps singing the praises of Isaiah Adams. This guy's been awesome. He's had a great hell of a week of practice, I think was his quote last week. So if it happens, be stoked for it as well. I feel like if it was going to happen, they would have done it yesterday. But again, dollars and cents.
What would you have said to the only right guard that can start on the team right now?
That's what I was going to say.
What would you say? He's playing poorly? I'm not saying he is. They don't have a backup plan at right guard. The second-year kid out of Illinois, who only played because Will Hernandez got hurt last year, who played fine, but he was part of the Jonah Williams experiment on the right side. It wasn't just him. Okay, so what I say, and stupid, but I say dumb things because it's the only thing I can think of. This locomotive cannot stop this year. Mm-hmm. It can't. So the fact it would be like a small version of institutional failure if they didn't sign Will Hernandez. Like, you got to do it and you got to move. Like, they can't have any weak spots. If Isaiah Adams gets hurt, expletive here. You know, like you can't, especially with the year that Kyler Murray's so under the microscope. Like every box has to be checked twice.
We're going to get a lot of other boxes checked come Saturday when the Cardinals and the Chiefs take on each other at State Farm Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. That's a home game against the, nearly dynasty Chiefs. I guess they're still there. Clancy and Jamil will be with you guys after that game later on in the night, breaking it all down. I will be on husband duty for the wife's birthday, so I will not be there. However, those two guys will be holding it down. So thank you for making Locked On Cardinals Squad Show your first listen day. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NFL Scouting Show. As training camps get closer and moves are being made, host Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino will make you the most informed NFL fan this offseason. Find Locked On NFL Scouting on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. For myself, Jamil, Clancy, we will see you guys on Saturday post-game. Jamil and Clancy, once again, will take you to the end of that. But until then, talk to you guys then.